We're live from New Delhi, watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor continues. All party delegations engage in high-level discussions to strengthen India's fight against terrorism. United States sends Iran proposal on potential nuclear deal amid IAEA report of Tehran's nuclear enrichment activity. Poland votes in tight presidential runoff. Fate of pro-EU Rafał Trzaskowski and conservative nationalist Karol Nawrocki at stake. Official result expected by Monday. Two bridges collapse in Russia's Bryansk-Kursk regions, derailing trains. 7 killed, dozens injured in train mishaps. And in sports, Paris Saint-Germain PSG wins Champions League for the first time in history, beats Inter Milan 5-0 in the record-breaking final. And on to the details now. As a demonstration of India's steadfast commitment to eradicating terrorism, 7 multi-party parliamentary delegations are engaged in high-level discussions during their official visits abroad. An all-party parliamentary delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Baijnath Jai Panda is currently visiting Algeria to strengthen India's fight against terrorism. Addressing the Algerian media, members of think tanks and the Indian diaspora, Baijnath Panda slammed Pakistan on Saturday, highlighting that the neighbouring country is using its nuclear power to shield its terrorist activities. The delegation also observed a moment of silence in memory of those who lost their lives in the Pakistan-sponsored terror attack in Pahalgam. Another all-party parliamentary delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Ravi Shankar Prasad arrived in London on the third leg of their multi-nation visit. During their course of stay in the UK, the delegation will meet Speaker of the House of Commons Sir Lindsay Hoyle, FCTO Minister for Indo-Pacific Catherine West, MP members of both houses of the UK Parliament and important representatives from media, think tanks and Indian diaspora. Well, the delegation is on a visit to the United Kingdom till June 3rd with a mission to convey India's unequivocal commitment to defeat terrorism. As part of the Government of India's continued efforts under Operation Sindoor, the high-level delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Sanjay Kumar Jha arrived in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. India's High Commissioner to Malaysia briefed the delegation, setting the context for engagements in Malaysia to convey India's resolve to fighting terrorism. The delegation will meet with Malaysian ministers, members of parliament, representatives of think tanks, academia, media and Indian community to convey India's national consensus and collective resolve to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. The multi-party Indian parliamentary delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Supriya Sule held fruitful interactions and intense discussions with top Ethiopian lawmakers, dignitaries, African Union Commission. During the meetings, the delegation members underscored the continued threat of cross-border terrorism and deliberate attempts to sow social discord in India. The Ethiopian side emphasized its own zero-tolerance policy against terrorism and condemned the terrorist act committed on 22nd of April against innocent citizens. They expressed a willingness to work together to address this global challenge. The delegation also held interaction with the Indian community based in Ethiopia. The delegation recognized the vital contribution of diaspora and conveyed India's commitment towards its diaspora. Well, after completing a fruitful visit to Colombia, a multi-party delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Shashi Tharoor left for Brazil. During their visit to Colombia, the delegation held an in-depth and wide-ranging interaction with members of the Colombian Council on International Relations. The discussions focused on various aspects of India-Colombia relations. The delegation also interacted with Indian diaspora and Colombian citizens, highlighting India's resolute stand against terrorism and new strategies to counter cross-border terror. In line with India's principled and resolute stance against terrorism, multi-party delegation led by Dr. Shrikant Shinde arrived in Liberia's Monrovia on Saturday, the last leg of the four-nation visit. During their stay in Monrovia, the delegation will be meeting with the President of Liberia, Speaker of the House of Representatives, President pro tempore of the Senate, Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as leading think tanks and representatives of the media. Well, the delegation will convey India's strong message of zero tolerance towards terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Also, another all-party parliamentary delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Kani Mozi arrived in Madrid on the final leg of its multi-nation outreach. The delegation was received by India's ambassador to Spain, Dinesh Patnaik. Over the next 2 days, the delegation will meet with members of the Spanish government, the Indian diaspora and civil society representatives to present India's stance of zero tolerance for terrorism. And the 17th edition of the India-Mongolia Joint Military Exercise, Nomadic Elephant, began on Saturday at the Special Forces Training Center in Ulaanbaatar. The 14-day-long joint drills will involve counter-terrorism operations in semi-mountainous terrain, a critical area of operational focus given the contemporary security landscape. While the troops will also rehearse activities conducted during United Nations peacekeeping operations, simulating real-world situations where multinational forces must collaborate effectively in complex environments. The collaboration aims to improve both forces' ability to respond swiftly and effectively during the operations. As the exercise progresses, the participating forces will engage in a series of tactical drills, exchanging knowledge and expertise while building lasting ties of friendship and trust. While reflecting the growing maritime security cooperation between India and the European Union, the two sides will conduct a joint naval exercise in the Indian Ocean from June 1st to 3rd. The exercise will focus on advanced counter-piracy operations, interoperability, tactical maneuvers, and enhanced communication protocols. Take a look.
In a significant step towards enhanced maritime collaboration, India and the European Union will hold a joint naval exercise in the Indian Ocean. The exercise will feature ships from the Indian Navy and 2 frigates from the European Union Naval Force Operation Atlanta. The participating EU ships, the Italian frigate Antonio Marseglia and the Spanish frigate Reina Sofia, are currently docked at Mumbai. The joint exercise will be coordinated by the respective maritime operation centers. Rear Admiral David da Pozzo, Force Commander of the UNIFOR Atlanta, and Hervé Delphin, the Ambassador of the European Union to India, elaborated on the significance of the exercise and the broader EU-India cooperation.
It's the first time that Atalanta units are mooring in Mumbai. We have 2 ships here, so it's a big event in enhancing our cooperation and coordination with the Indian Navy. We share the same values, we share the same goals, which are maritime security in the Indian Ocean. So we are really committed to increase cooperation and coordination, and this exercise will help us in doing this.
I think it stems simply from the recognition of how much our interests intersect in ensuring maritime security. For a very simple reason, I think in the Indo-Pacific, we both see the importance of maintaining free and open and rule-based Indian Ocean access and in the Indo-Pacific access. This is in our economic interest and in our security interest.
Hervé Delphin, the Ambassador of the European Union to India, also reaffirmed EU's strong commitment to combating terrorism. He emphasized that the European Union's recognition of India's right to defend itself and protect its citizens. He noted that Operation Sindoor was a response to the Pahalgam terror attack.
As a strong partner of India, we of course always been standing in contact with India. We made our position very clear, condemning the attack. Recognizing the right of India to defend and protect its citizens in such situations.
India and the European Union are steadily enhancing cooperation on maritime security. Both sides share a deep commitment to a free, open, inclusive and rules-based maritime order in the Indo-Pacific region. Sharma Mishra's report for DD India in Mumbai.
Well, every year since 2001, June 1st is observed as the World Milk Day by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations to acknowledge the importance of milk as a global food and to celebrate the dairy sector. India ranks first in milk production since 1998 and contributes to 25% of global milk production. Here's more. Over the past 10 years, India's milk production has increased significantly by 63.56%, from 146.3 million tons in 2014 to 15 to 239.2 million tons during the year 2023-24. This reflects an annual growth rate of 5.7% during the past 10 years. In contrast, the world milk production is growing at 2% per annum. Per capita availability of milk in India has also increased by 48% in the last decade. Dairy is the single largest agricultural commodity, contributing 5% of the national economy. As an industry, it employs more than 80 million people, with the majority being small and marginal farmers as well as the landless. India has also made significant strides in the dairy cooperative sector. Within this sector are about 22 milk federations, 240 district cooperative milk unions, 28 marketing dairies, and 24 milk producer organizations. These organizations encompass approximately 230,000 villages and include 18 million dairy farmers as members.
1st June is celebrated as the World Milk Day around the world. India is the largest producer of milk in the world, so naturally it's a matter of great joy for all the 8 crore families who are dependent on milk for livelihood across the country. Today is also a very important day for Amul because we are going to launch milk in Spain from today onwards. So apart from the launch in US and Amul Doodh Pita Hai India, we are happy that Europe also will start consuming and the taste of Amul milk, and we will make this small attempt to honor the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister to ensure that there is an Indian food item on every dining table of the world.
Women constitute the major workforce of the dairy sector in the country, with 35% of women participating in dairy cooperatives. There are 48,000 women dairy cooperative societies operational at the village level nationwide, empowering women in rural areas. With a series of measures being taken by the government as well as the growing role of the private sector in dairy development, India is expected to sustain its growth in milk production and milk processing in the coming decades. The revised increase in budget for the National Programme for Dairy Development India also aims to increase milk procurement, processing capacity and quality control, enhance market access for farmers and better pricing through value addition, as well as strengthening of the dairy supply chain to increase rural income and development. Number of other funds and schemes like Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, Rashtriya Gokul Mission, National Livestock Mission is also bringing sharp focus on entrepreneurship, development and breed improvement, capacity building of veterinary services, disease surveillance and capital loans for individuals. Bureau Report, DD India. And now some weather updates from across India. Extremely heavy rainfall continued to lash India's northeast region for the third consecutive day, triggered by a deep depression over the northwest Bay of Bengal. Disaster officials said on Saturday that torrential rains have claimed at least 3 lives in Assam. Meanwhile, the Dibrugarh water levels in the Brahmaputra River remained high, rising to 105.74, which is above the danger mark of 105.70. Well, water level of the Teesta River also increased following heavy rainfall in Mangan district of North Sikkim. Authorities have activated emergency services monitoring water levels, especially in low-lying and landslide-prone regions. In Manipur's capital, Imphal, officials rescued residents after heavy rains led to a flood-like situation. Security personnel were seen transporting locals on rafts while others waded through knee-deep water. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert with isolated very heavy rainfall expected in Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura on Sunday. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. US envoy slams Hamas response to ceasefire proposal as totally unacceptable amid stalled Gaza talks. And Miss Thailand Zopal Suchata Chuangsari crowned Miss World 2025. Eiffel Tower illuminates in blue and red post PSG's victory. Fans set off fireworks in celebration.
Welcome to Orwell. In the heart of Tamil Nadu, a city without borders is rising. A dream of unity, rooted in spirit and shaped by hands from around the world. Where sustainability is a way of life and education means self-discovery.
This is a place where human spirit meets with the divine.
Watch the special broadcast on these times, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. And moving on, the US has sent Iran a proposal for a nuclear deal between Tehran and Washington. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said he had been presented with elements of a US deal by his Omani counterpart Badr al-Budasaidi during a short visit to the Iranian capital. It comes after a report by the UN nuclear watchdog which said Iran had further stepped up its production of enriched uranium, a key component in the making of nuclear weapons. Well, Iran has consistently said it won't sign any deal that does not allow enrichment, while US officials have publicly committed to denying Iran that option. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said on Saturday it was in Tehran's best interest to accept the deal, adding President Trump has made it clear that Iran can never obtain a nuclear bomb. Also, US President Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East rejected Hamas's response to a US-backed proposal for a temporary ceasefire as totally unacceptable. The Palestinian militant group said it was willing to release 10 living hostages and hand over the bodies of 18 dead in exchange for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prisons. But Hamas reiterated demands for an end to the conflict and withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, conditions Israel has rejected. Now, the proposals would see a 60-day truce and the exchange of 28 of the 58 hostages still held in Gaza for more than 1,200 Palestinian prisoners and detainees, along with the entry of humanitarian aid into the enclave. Well, there was no immediate response from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office to the Hamas statement. And meanwhile, Trump said on Friday he believed a ceasefire agreement was close after the latest proposals, and the White House said on Thursday that Israel had agreed to the terms. Also, the Israel Defense Forces claim to have killed the chief of Hamas, Mohammed Sindoor, in May 13 strike on the grounds of the European hospital in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. In a post on X, the IDF said, and I quote, "We eliminated the head of Hamas again. He happens to be a Sindoor too," unquote. In a joint statement, the Israel Defense Forces and Shin Bet Security Agency said they had confirmed that the May 13th strike on the grounds of the European hospital in Khan Yunis had killed Sindoor along with Mohammed Shabana, commander of the terror group's Rafah Brigade, and Mahdi Quara, commander of the South Khan Yunis Battalion. Also, Mohammed Sindoor, a senior Hamas military commander, was the younger brother of the former Hamas leader in Gaza, Yahya Sindoor. The younger Sindoor had been at the top of Israel's most wanted list. After Yahya Sindoor was killed in combat in October 2024, Mohammed Sindoor became the de facto leader of the terror group in Gaza. And moving on, Poland is holding a crucial presidential runoff election, marking a significant shift in country's role in Europe since the fall of communism. Sunday's election promises to have a decisive impact on Poland's future course and its relationship with the European Union. A winner for pro-European Zarakowski, who belongs to Prime Minister Donald Tusk's civil coalition, would allow Tusk to push ahead with his reformist agenda. Nawrocki, meanwhile, comes from the conservative nationalist Law and Justice Party, like the incumbent President Andrzej Duda, who has blocked many of the government's legislative projects with his veto power. In Poland, the president holds a 5-year term and has broad powers, including representing the country abroad, influencing foreign policy, appointing the head of government and the cabinet, and serving as commander-in-chief of the armed forces in the event of war. Well, China has condemned U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's speech at the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, accusing Washington of fueling regional tensions and urging it not to play with fire. In his address, Hegseth portrayed China as a threat multiple times and made comments on issues including Taiwan and the South China Sea. A spokesperson for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement that Hegseth deliberately ignored the calls for peace and development from countries in the region and instead touted the Cold War mentality for bloc confrontation. Also, the statement accused U.S. of being world's true hegemonic power and the primary source of instability in the Asia-Pacific. On the Taiwan question, the spokesperson reiterated that it is purely China's internal affair and that it brooks no foreign interference. Regarding the South China Sea, the spokesperson stressed that there has never been an issue with freedom of navigation or overflight in the region. Well, a bridge collapsed overnight and derailed a train in Russia's Kursk region on Sunday. This comes hours after a similar incident killed at least 7 people in Bryansk region that borders Ukraine. Moscow Railway said a train derailed between Klimov and Moscow due to the collapse of a road bridge span as a result of illegal interference in the operation of transport. In Bryansk, the governor said that at least 66 people injured, including 3 children. Authorities have opened an investigation to know cause of both the collapses. Meanwhile, rescue operation is still undergoing at Kursk and Bryansk region. And Miss Thailand, Opal Suchata Chuangsri, was crowned Miss World 2025 at the 72nd edition of the Miss World pageant. Chuangsri topped a field of 108 contestants in the contest held in India's southern Hyderabad city. Hassan Dereje Atmasu of Ethiopia was the first runner-up in the competition. Chuangsri received a crown from last year's winner, Kristina Pishkova. The 72nd Miss World Beauty pageant was hosted by Miss World 2016, Stephanie Del Val, and Indian presenter Sachin Kumbhar. And in Indian Premier League, Punjab Kings will face Mumbai Indians in Qualifier 2 in Ahmedabad. Punjab comes into this match after losing Qualifier 1 to RCB in a one-sided affair. In 2014, Punjab lost Qualifier 1 to Kolkata Knight Riders, but won Qualifier 2 against Chennai Super Kings to reach the finale. However, they lost the final against KKR. That was the only time this reached an IPL final. Mumbai, on the other hand, reached the IPL final 6 times so far and won 5 of them. In 2011, they lost Qualifier 2 to Royal Challengers Bangalore. The only other times they lost Qualifier 2 was in 2023. Hardik Pandya-led side come into match after edging out Gujarat Titans in the eliminator. Well, the 25th edition of the nationwide initiative Fit India Sundays on Cycle rolled out with enthusiasm and patriotic fervour in New Delhi and across India on Sunday. This special edition was dedicated to the brave soldiers of the Indian Armed Forces following the success of Operation Sindoor. Cyclists across all age groups led the Tiranga rally as a tribute. Citizens and dignitaries alike paid homage to their service through participation in the mass fitness drive. India's Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia led the special edition at the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium. Former cricketer Saba Karim, Olympic medalist wrestler Yogeshwar Dutt, grappler Sarita Moore and Bollywood actor Shavari joined Dr. Mandavia at Delhi leg of the rally, participating in the fitness drive and paying their homage.
This is an excellent initiative by Sports Authority of India and the Fit India movement to have a platform like this wherein we are allowed to express our gratitude to the armed forces. Recently we have seen what has transpired at the Indian border. So again, sincere thanks to the armed forces for having protected us for so many years. And I feel this is a way to express our gratitude towards them. On top of it, this being part of the cycle rally plus the World Bicycle Day, the 25th edition of the cycle rally. Overall, I think it's a wonderful platform.
Well, Paris Saint-Germain became first-time winners of Champions League after an emphatic 5-0 win over Inter Milan in a one-sided final on Saturday. PSG's win is the biggest winning margin in the final of the competition dating to 1956 and sealed a trouble after already winning Ligue 1 and the Coupe de France. PSG's win makes them only the second French club to lift the European Cup after Marseille in 1993, and coach Luis Enrique made it his second success after guiding Barcelona to victory in 2015. Well, post PSG's victory, the Eiffel Tower was illuminated in the blue and red colours of the French capital's football team. Eyewitness footage showed the tower lit up in PSG's colour as fans set off fireworks in celebration. Alright, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.